All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about Anthony Fantano fans and how I've been getting into it with them. Because, man, I'm telling you, I wasn't expecting to get into it with, like, that was not my 2026 bingo card. No, I wasn't expecting to get into it with some Anthony Fantano fans, but I've upset them because I've feel like that I'm telling the truth. I'm trying to think back on the 16 years that I've been involved with content creating, and also on top of that, like being a watcher, because I would say that I started off, when it came down to YouTube, I started off being a watcher than a content creator. It took me some time to become a content creator, but throughout, because I'm trying to think, when did he create his YouTube channel? Hold on for a second. I'm gonna have to do some research about this, because no, it's like my thing is this. I guess with me, I'm just trying to more so prove a point, with Anthony Fantano. But okay, so he got his channel called Fantano, and then there's another channel called The Needle Drop. And on the Fantano channel, he created that in 2017. So what was I doing in 2017? I was working in Seattle, and I was trying to make a name for myself. So I was heavily involved with content creating by that point. And then his Needle Drop channel, he created that in 2009. Okay, so he's been around for some time. I will give him that. He's been around actually longer than I have. But still, though, I'm not interested in his content to be watching it like that. That's the thing too, because I'm like, I wanted to talk about that. Music doesn't need a second opinion. I feel like that's something that needs to be said. Now, I'm not trying to discredit his career. I'm not trying to discredit his content. I'm not trying to take anything away from this man. But at the same time, I think I can be the judge on whether or not I'm going to like a song or an album or a music video or whatever it is that this man is reviewing on his channel. All I know is that he's reviewing music. But let's get into that real quick. Let's talk about how I even discovered who Anthony Fantano is in the first place, because he made a comment where I'm like, I'm gonna have to argue with that, because I'm like, bro, you making a comment saying that you're the most influential music critic of all time, and he said in the past, present, and future, he's always gonna be the most influential music critic. I'm gonna have to, pull a LA Norm move, press that X button. I'm gonna have to doubt what you're saying, bruh, because that's one of those things where I'm like, for one, music shouldn't require a second opinion. At the end of the day, if whoever the fan is, if they like it, that's all that matters, But let's just talk about that. But let's just talk on, what led to that moment. So, anyways, for those that don't know, yes, Anthony Fantano, he reviews music. For those that don't know him, yes, I'm a part of your guys' community. I also don't know who Anthony Fantano is. Now I do. Now I'm, somewhat familiar with him. I can memorize his name and stuff. It took me less time to remember his name than my own manager's name at my old job. I was like, dang, bro. But yeah, it's like, when people, they get so upset and things about you not knowing of a person, I'm like, why is that a reason to be upset? Like, jokingly, I can understand. But like, you being dead serious, like mad at me for not knowing who, or trying to force me to know who he is. Yeah, that's one of those things where I'm like, bruh, that's what your legacy on the internet's gonna be. You being known as an Anthony Fantano fan. That's as far as you're gonna get. Like right now, you're at a stop sign. No, not even at a stop sign. You're at a dead end. All right, reverse. Find another street to go down. All right, but anyways, so Anthony Fantano, a couple of years ago, had reviewed the singer Halsey, her album. And so I guess with that album, Halsey said that she put a lot of work into that album. And I think on top of that, she also said that she was going through chemotherapy while working on that album. So that right there, I'm like, that's one of those things where even if I wasn't a music creator myself, erase that whole side of me, I still feel like I would have to give her credit for that album. Despite however that album is sounding, the fact that you went through chemo and still came out with an album, because the way people be describing chemo, I'm like, it sounds like it's the roughest thing, one of the roughest things that you can go through in life, so for her to go through that, and then also on top of that, work on an album, like, you can't take that away from that girl. You can't. So, but anyways, Anthony Fantano reviewed the album. He must have said something bad about it. Halsey seen it. I responded to him, said what she needed to say, And then, yeah, and also said that too, how she was going through chemo when working on that album. And so Anthony Fantano, he responded to it, but through a magazine. And then he said some things, but then that was the part that caught my eye. That was the part that caught my attention, was him saying that he's the most influential music critic of all time. And I'm thinking to myself, so what the fans of music, what they have to say, that don't mean nothing, you know? So my thing is that if I'm talking to, like, let's say I'm a Halsey fan, right? And then I'm talking to another Halsey fan, and we're talking about how, you know, like, I haven't heard the album, but they heard the album, and they're telling me that the album is good. But Anthony Fantano, either himself or a fan, they come up and they're all like, no, what this person is saying don't mean nothing. You need to hear what Anthony Fantano says. Why would I listen to somebody that didn't like the album? And I don't know whether or not he did like that. I haven't seen the video, so I don't know. But I'm going to assume that he didn't like the album. If he has something negative to say about it, he didn't like the album. Now, so I'm like, okay, my thing is this. If he did say something positive, why is Halsey tripping then? So obviously he didn't say anything positive. But my thing is this, right? Why would I talk to somebody that doesn't like her music than somebody that does like her music? Like, if I'm like, I guess like with me, the one thing that I'm interested in is wrestling. I love my WWE. I love my AEW. I just recently started watching TNA Impact. You can say that I'm a wrestling fan, right? Now, why would I talk to somebody about wrestling that doesn't like it over somebody that does like wrestling? Where am I going to? Because all this person is going to be talking about is the things that they don't like. I don't like that. I don't like conversations like that. I don't like talking with people. If I'm like talking to them about wrestling or video games or a movie or a musician that I'm a fan of, and they always want to find the negatives in it, fam, I'm like, no, you can go on over there. You know, I'm like, but I ain't got nothing else to say to you and stuff. So, and yeah, I'm like, the times where people have done stuff like that, I'm like, okay, well, the conversation is going to be short. I'm going to just let you know that and stuff. So, but anyways, overall, though, I was like, yeah, I was thrown off by that comment that he made, because I'm like, okay, because at this notes, and now this is at the time where I'm just now discovering him. I'm just now figuring out who he is and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I guess, I'm Dante, Bilu, and Zeus. I'm trying to think of some other music critics out there. I guess, them becoming whole like memes, and then also being, I would have to, my thing is this. Both of them combined, let's just say they, and then, yeah, there's so many other different creators that I've seen where I'm like, I might not know them by name, but I'm like, I feel like I've seen their, videos a lot on either on TikTok, YouTube, seen them do some Twitch streams, and I'm thinking to myself, and even that too, I was like, I remember when Playboi Carti, when he dropped his, last album, I Am Music, I ain't see nothing about Anthony Fantano. So, and I don't know if he reviewed, let's just see if he reviewed his Playboi Carti's album. Maybe he did. I don't know. But overall, he did. He reviewed the album. And that was the thing. I'm like, I did not see that review. Does that make me a bad person? Because I'm just confused by it and stuff. But I was thrown off by it. I talked about it because I'm getting a little distracted and off topic. Not really off topic, but I'm going down too many lanes and stuff to get to the point and things. So let's just get straight to the point. So, but anyways, I had did a video talking about the comment that Anthony Fantano made, and then that's when people started responding to the video. Some Anthony Fantano fans. One fan calling me out as a liar, saying that I do know who Anthony Fantano is, and I'm thinking to myself, why would I lie about that? Like, what is there to lie about? But anyways, and I don't know if it was the same fan or a different fan, but then he goes on to say that Post Malone, Logic, and then it was some other band had shouted out Anthony Fantano, so therefore that makes him famous. So that's when I used an example, and I was like, okay, Marlon Wayans retweeted a tweet of mine on Twitter. Does that make me the most famous comedian of all time? Because it was a joke that I was cracking. So to explain that, Marlon Wayans was getting into it with the one YouTuber, DJ Vlad, and I made a tweet saying that we watch reruns of the Wayans brothers. We don't watch reruns of DJ Vlad interviews. And it was funny because people were saying that underneath that tweet, talking about, why are you lying? I'm thinking to myself, okay, if I'm watching the interview for the person that DJ Vlad is interviewing, that's a completely different story. But let's just say if DJ Vlad were to have a vlogging channel, or a channel where he's just sitting down talking about random stuff and things like it's just strictly DJ Vlad. Would you guys watch that? And let's just say he dropped an interview where he's like multiple interviews. He's interviewing the Wayans brothers. He's interviewing who else could he interview that's famous? Yeah, just anybody of fame right now. Taylor Swift. What else? And I guess like even an artist that that's not here with us, but let's just say he was Michael Jackson. And then he's all like, hey guys, even though I uploaded these interviews, I want you to watch this DJ Vlad vlog real quick. People would not, I feel like even though they're clicking on that interview to watch Michael Jackson, they would forget who DJ Vlad is if he's talking about, I want you guys to watch a DJ Vlad vlog and stuff. They were like, look, we know you, but we're going to forget that channel even exists. You just interviewed Michael Jackson. Do you honestly think because, this is the best vlog that I did of all, like, this is going to be the greatest vlog of all time and stuff? We don't care about that. We just want to see Michael Jackson. People click on a DJ Vlad video for Michael Jackson, and that's just like with Anthony Fantano. Although people are going to his channel to see his take on, and maybe, I don't know, maybe he does, because I know he does have 2 channels, and maybe one channel it is talking about like just stuff that he wants to talk about, where it's like maybe it's him or whatever. But my thing is this. They're clicking on that video because he's talking about Playboi Carti. My thing is this, and let's just say Anthony Fantano, he was doing and I don't know, maybe he is that much of an interesting person to where if let's say he does a vlog channel himself. I wonder if he does. Hold on for a second. Let's just see a Anthony Fantano vlog. If he does, or maybe that's what this Fantano channel is. And no, okay, so he uploaded, hold on for a second, let's just see when the last time he uploaded the video. So he uploaded the video, a day ago, and I don't know if he's reviewing music or what on this channel, but he is talking about music and stuff, so it ain't really, no, so this ain't the vlog. I looked up Anthony Fantano vlog, and then it was like, it just seemed like it just took me right back. I thought that was the Needle Drop channel where he was, I don't know what I'm clicking on and stuff, but overall though, I think it's safe to say that Anthony Fantano, it's like people don't be clicking on his videos for him. They click on the videos to see what he's going to be talking about. Now, people might be interested in his take, but again, you don't need a second opinion on music. So let's just say everybody loved Playboi Carti's album besides Anthony Fantano. Because Anthony Fantano doesn't like Playboi Carti's album, is that going to change your mind on Playboi Carti's album? Whatever Anthony Fantano say. Let's say he was like, this is the worst album of all time. And let's just say like the vlog, or not the vlog, but the review hadn't came out until like a week later. So you got Playboi Carti's music on repeat. You're loving all of the songs, but Anthony Fantano comes out with a video and he says it's the worst album of all time. If that changes your mind, you being a Playboi Carti fan, but you are more of a fan than Anthony Fantano, is that going to change your mind? Because at the end of the day, I'm like, bruh, then what's the point of even listening to music? What's the point of just living life and going about life in your own way if you got to rely on what somebody else said about some music? So that's why I'm like, yeah, at the end of the, I guess with me, I'm interested into seeing if it's funny. So like, yeah, content creators like B-Lou and Zias, they done made whole memes out of their reviews. I'm Dante, he done made memes out of his reviews. I ain't never seen an Anthony Fantano meme. Maybe I did, and I just didn't realize who it was and stuff, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why is that a problem? Why is it a problem if I don't know who Anthony Fantano is? So yeah, his fans, they were a little upset, and then, now they're trying to debate me and stuff. There was even one fan, he left this like multi-paragraph long comment, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't want to read all of that because it's just pretty much, saying what you've been saying in my comment sections. Like we're not going to see a common ground. You're going to be upset because of me not knowing Anthony Fantano, or if you feel like I'm downplaying his channel or whatever. And that's the thing. I'm not downplaying it. I ain't got nothing negative to say about the guy. He be the greatest content creator of all time, or at least one of the greatest content creators of all time. But to say he is the most influential music critic of all time, that's a stretch. You're making a statement where it's like people are going to argue with that. And there's probably a lot of people besides me. I just so happen to be the one that did a video about it, but there's going to be a lot of people out there not knowing who Anthony Fantano is. So to his fans, you guys gotta stop, I guess, like, and that's just even talking to anybody. That's even talking to my own fans. You should not have to rely on a person that much. And all they're just providing to you is some YouTube videos. That's one of those things where I'm like, be a fan of somebody, but don't be that like a hype man, where it's like every time if I say something, you gotta like yell it out in the distance. I'm like, hey, bro, relax. You ain't gotta do all that. Okay, just calm down and relax. I can speak for myself, and that's the thing. Like, that's the one thing that I thrive for as a content creator is that I want fans, but I want fans capable of thinking for themselves, not having to rely on what Anthony Fantano said in order to repeat it back to somebody. That's why a lot of times I don't really be listening to people, because it's like, it's not an original conversation. Like that conversation that I had with his fans, that's a conversation that I had 10 times over for the past 16 years as a content creator. Is that when somebody is a fan, it might be worded differently, same exact story. So that's why I'm like, yeah, arguing with, it's funny, I could just say the same thing that I done said numerous times before, and it's like, oh, they go, so this is what they do, and this is what the guy did. So we're going back and forth. I proved him wrong. He got upset and he got to insulting me. And I started paying attention to that as a long time ago, not like with Anthony Fantano fans, but with other people and stuff. Now it's like people gonna be all like, nah, bro, you a Anthony Fantano, you a watcher, you know who he is. I don't, okay? This is the first time I got into it with his fans. But anyways, but no, getting into it with people, and then you just kind of just hit them with the, like, just kind of like, just getting them twisted up in their own opinion, right? They get mad. They realize that they're twisted up. They think that you're not listening to them. And I am listening to you. The question is, are you listening to me? You're not, because you're wanting me to agree with what you're talking about. That's not going to happen. That's not how debates go. You have your side of things and I have my side of things. You are going to agree with your side of things and I'm going to agree with my side of things. That's okay. If you want to be an Anthony Fantano fan, hey, I'm not going to take that away from you. But you're also not going to force me into believing that this man is the most influential music critic of all time. And I have yet to see one of his videos. Even after all of this, these past few days of hearing his name and seeing comments from his fans and all this other stuff, I have still yet to watch an Anthony Fantano video. I don't even know what this man's voice sounds like. And I'm like, I done clicked on his channel more times than anything. I'm like recently talking about him and stuff. But yeah, I'm like, I still have yet to hear a voice. I still have yet to watch a video. I do not know nothing about him. Does that make me a bad person? I guess to an Anthony Fantano fan, yes. But overall, though, yeah, the fan, they'll get upset. And this is just, just talking as an example and stuff. Like, and it could be for anything. But anyways, the fans would get upset, realize that they have nothing more to, say in the argument, and then that's when they want to start insulting you. And that's what the one Anthony Fantano fans did. I pretty much got him caught up in his argument. Then he got mad and called me child. I think it was either a child or childish. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why you gotta go to that? I didn't insult you. And it's funny, you don't even have to insult them. They get that upset to where they ain't got no other choice but to insult you. I talked about this not too long ago when I got into it with that Just a Robot fan. He got upset. He realized that he was getting twisted up in his own argument, and he had no other choice but to drop the N-word bomb. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, bro, I ain't said nothing about you. What are you getting mad for? Why do you? And it's funny how, like, I guess like put myself in them same shoes and stuff where somebody is talking about a person that I'm happen to be a fan of. I don't respond to it. I could care less. If somebody, so let's say, I'm Dante. If somebody is all like, oh, I don't know who I'm Dante is, then that's when, instead of arguing with them, instead of them like, hey, this is who he is. This is the video that you need to watch. This is the video that made him viral. These are the, the clips and memes and all the other things. I'm like, but instead of, trying to force it upon them to know who he is, I'm welcoming them into the Dante fan base. I'm like, no, I want you to be a fan. But it's stuff like that. That's not going to make me be an Anthony Fantano fan. That's going to make me want to avoid him. And that's the thing what fans need to understand. It's like, if you start attacking a person over some comments that they made, and that's the thing where I'm like, people, they be making comments about me all the time. at the end of the day, I guess like pretty much like I think my fans, they learned it from me. You just ignore it. I'm like, it's like at the end, I'm still gonna watch your videos. I'm still gonna be a fan of your content. Whatever a person is saying about you, that don't mean nothing, So yeah, it's like I just think that with the fans, I'm like, yeah, you guys definitely need to relax. It's not that serious. Not knowing who Anthony Fantano is, but. Anyways, with that being said, talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow or subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service. And peace.